about the books you've written. But before that, the audience should first know who this guy is. And we need your personal profile and your birthplace, the way you grew up, the way you were raised up by your family, and that and other related issues. And where were you born?
Thank you very much. I'm Mr. Abdisa Guye Arse. I was born in Oromia, RC zone. I was born and abroad in Konkosa district.
Okay, the former Bali zone?
The former Bali zone.
Good.
I was born and abroad there, and I attended my schools in Kokosa, primary and junior school, and high school at Dodola Senior School.
And then?
And then attended higher education at Juma Teachers Training College, Alpha University, and Anaadhufu University. All
right, you studied in different institutions. From your words, I understand that you attended Juma Teachers College and you became a teacher. Where did you teach?
Yeah, I've been teaching English for primary schools. I've been teaching English.
Okay, and may you name the schools so that children who are attending those schools you taught in could think they will be better people?
Sure, I got a lot of students from different schools that I taught for many years, not less than 10 years in teaching process, starting from grade 1 to university level.
Wow.
So my first school is in Kokosa.
Okay, your birthplace.
Yeah. In my birthplace, I taught for Rufa Desta. I taught for Dula, I taught for Kokosa High School. And then I moved to Dodola, in Dodola for Herero.
Herero between Adaba and Dodola.
Yeah,
a small town.
Yeah, a small town on your way to
Bali Robe.
Bali Robe.
All right.
I taught for a year in that school. And again, I taught for Edo School. Got a lot of very clever students who've been, doctors, engineers, and now working in different professions. So I'm very happy that I've taught for different schools in Oromia, in addition to different schools in Addis Ababa, since I started living in Addis Ababa.
You love teaching. How can you explain teaching, the profession?
Teaching is a lovable, the mother of all professions, a great work, a noble work that must be appreciated, and I love it from the bottom of my heart.
Before we go to other topic, what's your message for teachers who are now teaching, considering the profession as if something inferior to other professions? What is your message?
Well, teachers must be born to teach, right? Teachers are born to teach. So to be a teacher is, for me, blessing, right? But you must know that teaching is above all profession. So we don't worry about money, all right? That is not the great thing. The great thing is making people. The great thing is shaping people, shaping citizens. So a person who shapes citizen is above all. So for me, teachers are great people. So teaching is the profession of all professions. And I love it, really.
Thank you very much. And may you tell us how you joined Anaadhufu University then?
Well, I went to Juma Teachers Training College and attended my diploma level there and studied English. And I came back to Addis Ababa after I served for a lot of years in countryside in Bali. And then I attended my diploma at summer session with Juma Teachers Training College. And then I got away to come to the city. Then I decided, I'm Abdisa. I can do whatever I can do. And I can live as a citizen, as an Ethiopian, wherever I like to live. So that is, at that moment, I decided to live in the big city of the country, and then to continue.
You mean Finne?
Yes. And then I decided to live in the country. As soon as I came to Addis, I started my degree. As soon as I finished my degree, I continued my second degree, master's degree.
In English?
In English, and teach English as foreign language and literature. And I finished, and I got an opportunity to be a lecturer at Ambo University.
All right, for how many years have you worked there?
Almost for 2 years. For 2 years, I taught for engineering students, for pharmacy students, for third-year English graduate students. I taught them beautifully.
And you left?
And then I left for good reason.
Good reason. Well, so we don't talk about the reason.
Yeah.
And now you're giving training to different schools. That's what I heard, and I also saw some documents earlier. And why do you give the training? Is that for money or for other cases?
Well, a lot of my students, I don't know whether I'm a good teacher or not, but a lot of students of mine tell me I'm a good teacher. And what I know about myself is I'm a good trainer. Rather than a good teacher, yeah, I'm a good trainer, and I've given training for different schools in Addis Ababa and out of Addis, for KG teachers and for primary teachers, for high school teachers.
Why KG and primary? And many certificates that you've got are from some elementary and KG classes. Show the camera, the papers, so that...
Yeah, here is a certificate from Shashamane Lucy School. I've given training for kindergarten teachers, for middle-level teachers like...
what about the second?
The second one is from one of the schools in Addis, from Wadda School. And the second certificate is from one of the big schools in Addis Ababa, the Macmillan Academy. And the academy, which has gotten like 7 different subdivisions. So I've given training for all these, and the others which are not mentioned in our topic, have given different trainings, as English is considered as a means of communication and as a means of instruction. And the other topic is classroom management, general methodology, teaching methodology. And a big topic of my training is language area, that is how to prepare materials, classroom materials.
Why language?
In English language.
I mean, why?
You know, I've seen a gap in teaching learning process as English is considered, and I've evaluated a lot of materials prepared by Ministry of Education, and I've gone through them. And there is a big gap. So as a citizen, I got a responsibility to fill the gap.
Why English then? I mean, Afan-Oromo is there, Amharic is there, and many other languages. For instance, if we take Afan-Oromo, it could have that kind of gap. But why focus in English? Is that because you are English graduate, or because English is important than other languages?
Well, I can't say a language is more important than other. All language values the same. But you know, for our country, English is not the first language. It is not the second language. It is a foreign language, right? According to the science, there is a big difference between the first language, second language, and foreign language. For us, English is a foreign language. It has got its own methods, strategies to teach. And we lack that values in our country, right? And a lot of teachers are not trained in such a way, right? And the curriculum doesn't allow you that. And the way the training is being given in our country is not designed in such a way. And I've seen such a gap. So to fill the gap, I have to do something as a citizen, as a teacher, just, you know, to put a help for the government too. When I say this, I'm not saying that there wouldn't be a gap in Afan-Oromo too. There is a big gap. That is why I'm writing a lot of books, not less than 10 different books in each level. So, like I'm working in Chillax, I'm doing something with English, and I'm doing some other thing in Afan-Oromo too.
Your mother tongue?
With my mother tongue.
And you published different books, I saw, and at least our director and cameraman can show the audience, at least, yeah, each and every one of that. I would raise a question related to these books. Whether the book now you are showing to the camera, Sena Hindegatamne, Unforgettable History. You're not a historian. You are a language guy, and I saw you're working on English and Oromo. But you wrote this history of Oromo heroes and heroines. Why that?
A very good question, a tough question. You know, to write history, it is not must and mandatory to study history.
Isn't it a science then?
It is a science. Even if it's science, science is not studied only at school, at college or university, right? A big university is the society, your life. So what matters is the interest. If you do have the interest to read, the interest to write, and the access and exposure to know and to get the real history, right? That makes you right. So I'm a literature man, I'm a literature person. I know how to write, and I know how to approach, and I know what to be developed. So, firstly, I'm very interested to study history. Second, I do have an objective to write history, because we need to live for history, and your history is your identity. Your culture is your identity. Your language is your identity. So what I have to do is, I have to do something that I'm interested in. So I'm writing with my interest. I'm writing because it is my hobby. My hobby is reading and writing. So if you are interested to do something, you do whatever you like.
And in this book, you said, in case we raise and talk about enemies, no nation, no nationality and people in Ethiopia is enemy for the Oromo. Some groups can be enemies. You wrote that way at the beginning. What do you mean by that?
Thank you. You know, on the introductory part of this book, before the history of our hero Tadesse Birru, I wrote that no one is enemy of the other, right? And I directly wrote on the book that no nation is enemy to each other.
But
Amhara is not the enemy of Oromo, or Oromo is not the enemy of Amhara, and Oromo is not the enemy of Tigray, or Tigray is not the enemy of Amhara, and no one is enemy to each other. But our enemy is the system. Our problem is the system.
what does that mean?
That is, you know, living in this era, we have a history, a back history. In the back history, there are the systems which have been dominant for a lot of years. For a century and a half, the systems were dominant and exploiting the mass of Oromos, all right? That is not to mean that the people of something. It is not the people, but it is a system designed by, during the reign of Haile Selassie, during the reign of different rulers of Ethiopia. The way they rule the country have made Oromo being exploited, and that is the problem. That is the problem we talk about. That is the problem that we need to solve, and we need to adjust in order to bring equality, in order to apply the rule of law, in order to consider humanity, because in nature, everyone is equal. So to talk about the real federalism, to talk about equality, we need to talk about law, we need to talk about philosophy, we need to talk about justice, but all these have been denied and neglected during the race, during the reign of Haile Selassie and the others.